This is the ancient tale of Nuwa, the mother goddess, a celestial being of unparalleled compassion, whose greatest creation was the fragile, nascent world of mortals. She existed in a time when the heavens were perfectly aligned, and the earth flourished beneath the four great pillars that held the azure firmament aloft. Her hands had shaped the first humans from the Yellow River clay, imbuing them with the spirit of curiosity and the capacity for love. Nuwa watched over them, a silent guardian in the celestial palace, valuing their fleeting, simple lives above all the grandeur of the immortal realms. The cosmos, however, was not only governed by creation but by conflict. Deep within the boundless ether, two formidable lords of the celestial host, Gong, the water god, and Jarong, the fire god, harbored a simmering, bitter rivalry that eventually boiled over into open war. Their rivalry was born of pride and ambition, a desire to claim ultimate dominion over the heavenly spheres. Their battles were fought with weapons of pure elemental force, carelessly unleashing chaos that threatened to unravel the meticulously woven fabric of reality. The final confrontation was cataclysmic, a clash of primal elements that shook the very foundations of existence. Gong, enraged and defeated by the superior strategy of Jarong, turned his fury not on his enemy, but on the unmoving cornerstone of the universe. With a single, desperate, and earth-shattering blow, Gong struck Bujoshan, the immense mountain that served as the northwest supporting pillar of the sky. This pillar was the linchpin, the axis mundi, that separated heaven from earth, and its destruction was a cosmological catastrophe. The mountain groaned, then fractured, its titanic base crumbling into dust. The sky, suddenly deprived of its primary support, buckled and collapsed, tearing open like a vast, dark wound across the celestial dome. Through this terrifying rupture, the cosmic rivers, the infinite, turbulent waters of the Milky Way poured down upon the mortal realm. This was no ordinary rain. It was a deluge of elemental power, overwhelming mountains, and extinguishing the fledgling lights of human civilization. Simultaneously, from the fiery void of the ripped sky, uncontrolled divine flames rained down, igniting the world in a conflagration that consumed everything in its path. Forests became ash in seconds. Rivers boiled away into steam. The balance of the five elements was utterly destroyed, unleashing primordial beasts that had been sealed away since the dawn of time. These ravenous monsters emerged from forgotten caverns and deep seas, preying on the scattered, terrified remnants of humanity. The dragon of the flood and the monstrous nine-headed serpent stalked the flooded plains, their shadows covering the land. The human race, Nuwa's precious creation, was facing annihilation, drowning in water and consumed by fire and fear. Nuwa, observing this cosmic horror, felt a deep, profound sorrow that was quickly replaced by a fierce, protective resolve. She was the one who gave them life, and she would be the one to ensure their continuance. Her divine mind calculated the magnitude of the repair needed. It was not enough to patch the sky. She needed to replace the fundamental architecture of the world and restore the elemental harmony. Her journey began immediately. She descended, touching the ravaged earth, her steps leaving trails of calm in the midst of chaos, beginning the most arduous task ever undertaken by a deity. Nuwa knew that no ordinary stone could withstand the boundary between the mortal and immortal realms. So she sought the legendary Wukaishi, the five-colored stones of the five elements. She traveled far to the peaks of Mount Kunlun, where she unearthed the white stone, the essence of metal, glittering with divine hardness and purity. From the swirling currents of the eastern sea, she retrieved the blue stone, the embodiment of water, holding the deep, cleansing secrets of the oceans. She ventured into the heart of the volcanic lands, extracting the red stone, the fierce, pulsating spirit of fire, burning with the intensity of creation. In the verdant wild jungles, she found the green stone, the potent energy of wood, signifying growth, resilience, and rebirth. Finally, from the deep, stable bedrock of the central plains, she drew forth the yellow stone, the grounding power of earth, the foundation of all stability. Gathering these five raw, conflicting forces was only the prelude to the true challenge, fusing them into a single, cohesive, and perfectly balanced substance. Nuwa designated a vast, protected valley as her divine forge, a place shielded by powerful, ancient enchantments to contain the resulting elemental volatility. She raised a colossal furnace of pure, shimmering light, powered by the core heat of the cosmos, a temperature capable of melting time and reality itself. She placed the Wukaishi inside and began the 19-day purification ritual. The immense pressure required to unify these elements was nearly unbearable. The fire inside the furnace roared, threatening to consume the goddess herself. Yet Nuwa stood firm, channeling her own life force and divine will into the alchemical process. The stones fought against their fate, releasing plumes of elemental energy, steam and ash. Lightning and shadow, a primal war contained within the light of the forge. Slowly, miraculously, they began to yield, merging their separate identities into one glowing, incandescent material that pulsed with all the colors of the rainbow. This was the Mending Stone, a perfect piece of cosmic architecture. Heavy with the potential to restore the equilibrium of the universe, shaped by Nuwa into thousands of durable tiles. Exhausted, Nuwa then turned her attention to the structural integrity of the earth. The collapse of Bujoshan had tilted the world, causing the devastating, uncontrolled floods. To replace the colossal pillar, she required an object of immense, unwavering stability, capable of bearing the full weight of the sky for eternity. Her gaze fell upon Ao, the massive ancient tortoise of the North Sea, whose shell was renowned for its density, resilience, and enduring wisdom. Ao, sensing the cosmic necessity, willingly offered its life to save the world, recognizing the greater purpose in its own immense existence. With a heavy heart, Nuwa performed the somber ritual, severing the 4 colossal legs of the great tortoise, a sacrifice that brought pain but averted absolute ruin. She transported these 4 legs to the 4 cardinal points of the compass: east, south, west, and north. The legs were placed beneath the earth, sunk deep into the bedrock, instantly replacing the shattered pillar and stabilizing the world's axis. The tilt corrected itself. The earth's violent tremors ceased, the ocean settled, and the vast surging floodwaters were contained within their new, fixed boundaries. With the earth stabilized, Nuwa began her ascent toward the gaping wound in the heavens, the true source of all the world's agony. She flew higher and higher, beyond the clouds, into the terrifying edge of the void, where celestial fire and raw cosmic energy collided. The Great Tear was visible, a terrifying chasm that threatened to pull all light and matter into its darkness. Nuwa, radiating the fierce calm of a deity on a mission, began her repair, floating along the edge of the breach, tile by precious tile. She took the first mending stone, still warm from the forge, pressed it into the shattered seam of the sky, aligning its elemental power with the cosmic flow. As the tile settled, a glorious flash of 5-colored light erupted, instantly sealing a section of the rift and causing the torrential downpour to lessen slightly. She repeated the process hundreds of times, flying back and forth, pressing, shaping, infusing the new, balanced material into the old, broken celestial dome. It was a labor of divine proportions, requiring not just strength, but an intimate understanding of the universe's geometric and spiritual construction. The resulting sky was a glorious spectacle, no longer uniformly blue, but a shimmering tapestry of fused colors: the red of fire, the blue of water, the white of metal, the yellow of earth, and the green of wood. Each colorful patch was a permanent, glowing scar, a testimony to the moment the universe nearly ended, saved by one determined deity. Yet as she neared the completion of the immense task, Nuwa found that the tiles were dwindling faster than she calculated. A final, crucial gap remained, small but potent, still leaking remnants of the chaotic primordial fire that refused to be quenched. Nuwa had used the very last of the 5-colored stones. There was nothing left to plug the final hissing tear in the fabric of heaven. The goddess paused, her gaze steady, her face etched with exhaustion but devoid of fear. She understood the final terrible requirement of the task: to seal the sky perfectly, to ensure its permanence. It needed to be sealed with a substance more divine than the 5-colored stones apiece of the Creator herself. She reached into her chest and, with an act of pure will, plucked out a tiny, glowing shard of her own divine heart essence. This essence, the source of her creative power and boundless love, pulsed with a light that surpassed the sun. She pressed this shimmering fragment into the final gap. The shard immediately solidified, turning into a singular, brilliant, perfect white star. The star sealed the rift completely, ensuring that the celestial dome would hold firm for all time, eternally marked by the goddess's core sacrifice. The great deluge stopped. The fires were extinguished. A silent, perfect blue and colored sky stretched over the bruised world. Nuwa descended once more, her divine energy severely depleted, her purpose not yet fulfilled. The world was mended, but the chaos had to be cleansed. She turned her attention to the monstrous beasts that continued to terrorize the surviving mortals. Creatures emboldened by the cosmic breakdown, she gathered vast amounts of purifying ash and infused them with her last reserves of celestial energy, creating a legion of fierce winged creatures. These swift, powerful beings hunted down the monstrous hordes, subduing the nine-headed serpent and driving the flood dragon back into the deepest oceans. Nuwa then carefully purified the remaining flood waters, separating them into distinct rivers and seas, giving them the boundaries they were meant to keep. She gently reshaped the scarred, fire-damaged land, turning the ashes of destruction into newly fertile soil, ready for a renewed era of life. The world was restored, steadied by the great tortoise legs and roofed by the shimmering five-colored sky. Nuwa found the few remaining humans, cowering in caves and atop the highest peaks. Their fear still tangible, their civilization lost. She did not preach or demand worship. Instead, she knelt and began to teach them how to make tools from the newly purified earth, how to sow seeds in the soft ground. She imparted the wisdom of the restored cycles, the rhythm of the seasons, and the importance of respecting the fragile new order of the world. Her divine act was complete. The great tragedy had passed, and the celestial being had redeemed the error of others through her own immense sacrifice. The five-colored sky was now known as the Cloth of Nuwa, a permanent, shimmering reminder of the immense cost of peace and the burden of creation. Her story, passed down through generations, became a foundational myth, defining the relationship between the powerful deities and the delicate lives of the mortals. Nuwa's resolve showed that true divinity lies not just in the power to create, but in the selflessness required to preserve and restore what has been broken. Her act transcended the petty conflict of the other immortals. She sought not victory, but survival for the innocent. She faded back into the celestial spheres, no longer as the pristine, untouchable creator, but as the tired, scarred, and infinitely revered preserver. The tiny glowing star that marked the final seal of the sky is her heart, forever watching over the mortals she cherished. It is a focus on the core theme of the goddess's story, that compassion is the ultimate power in the cosmos, stronger than any clash of elemental gods. The moral character of a true celestial being is defined by sacrifice, not by conquest, a principle eternally fixed in the firmament. And the world continues to spin, stable and beautiful, a living testament to the goddess who mended the sky. Every human who looks up at the colorful, vast expanse is unconsciously benefiting from her pain. The great act of mending remains unparalleled in the history of the deities. The cosmic hierarchy had been redefined, placing the creator-preserver above the destructive powers. Her legacy ensures that the earth will never again succumb to such elemental chaos. She gave them a second chance, a quiet renewal under a vigilant, colorful dome. The earth found its balance. The waters knew their limits. Fire obeyed the boundaries of the stones. The air was purified by her passage. The mortals thrived, unknowingly protected by the severed limbs of a benevolent turtle. The tale is a contained narrative, highlighting this single, pivotal moment, emphasizes the immense responsibility that comes with being a celestial being. Nuwa bore that responsibility completely, beautifully, and alone. She is the epitome of the mother figure in the pantheon of immortals. Her name is whispered in reverence among the mountains and rivers she healed. The sky holds her secret. Thank you for listening to this enduring legend of the deities, immortals, and celestial beings. What force in your own life do you believe Nuwa represents most, creation or preservation? Let us know your thoughts on this epic tale of sacrifice in the comments section below. Remember to comment, like, share, and subscribe to Storycraft Studio. Until next time, may your own pillars stand strong beneath a mended sky.